So a lot of times when people get an order of protection, they think that they're safe, and that's just one layer of safety.
Rebecca Dar with Wings emphasizes the importance of calling the Illinois Domestic Hotline to help create a safety plan. Staying with friends or family, she says, isn't enough, which is where the hotline staff and local resources are critical.
If we can get you to a place where the perpetrator cannot find you, then they cannot hurt you, and that is what we're here to do.
A tragic reality unfolding in this North Lawndale neighborhood, leaving 2 girls without their mom. Dar says it's important to share a message that someone will be on the other end of the line for any victims and survivors when they make that call.
You're not alone. There are resources, and there are people here who care about you.
In Chicago, Illinois, in the morning hours of January 16, 2025, a teacher and her youngest child were headed out the door of their home to start off their day. The mother was headed to work and her daughter to school on what was supposed to be like any other normal weekday. However, a short time past 7 o'clock in the morning, the little girl's screams would break the quiet of the North Lawndale neighborhood where they lived. She had just witnessed something so traumatic in nature, and she and her mother, Sally, would never make it far. Right there in the front yard, she witnessed 2 people lose their lives right in front of her very young eyes. What would later come to light is the sad tragedy of a person living in darkness that decided to take another person's life to fill a void that could have never been explored. When people speak about a 41-year-old woman by the name of Tanisha Weeks, some of the first things you will hear is how she was a loving mother, devoted daughter, and active church member. She had been an educator in Chicago for 15 years, teaching pre-K through second grade students, and she was considered to be one of their favorites. Before becoming an educator in her mid-20s, some of her biggest moments in life was getting married and having children. Tanisha would meet the love of her life and her future husband, who I will call D, in December of 2002 when she was 19 years old, and the couple would have their first child together in December 2004. After the birth of their son, the pair would officially tie the knot on July 2, 2005, and Tanisha went from a Turner to a Weeks. In November 2007, the couple will welcome their second child, this time a little girl. Dee and Tanisha seemed to make a perfect match for each other, growing and loving each other year after year. On their 5th wedding anniversary in July 2010, the pair re-exchanged vows with each other in front of loved ones and friends, and both were all smiles during the celebration. His family adored her, and her family adored him, and they would continue to grow together year after year. On one of Dee's birthdays, Tanisha's mother said, "There is so much I can say about this man right here, but there is not enough words. He is a good husband, father, friend, percussionist, and the best son-in-law in the world. Happy birthday, son. You are truly a special gift from God. Love you, son." Dee truly appeared to be all of that she said and more, and his admiration for his wife was something special. As the years went by, the couple will welcome their 3rd and last child, another daughter, in June 2017, and the family was so happy about the new addition. Dee was never shy about expressing his love for his wife and often spoke on her being his WCW or Woman Crush Wednesday every day of the week. On July 17, 2019, he would post, "Hey, it's Wednesday, #WCW. We all know who mine is, the snack I'm standing next to, Tanisha Weeks." However, what Dee did not know at the time was his wife was becoming wrapped up in a bad situation with a man that started in March of 2019. Also, on March 7, Dee wrote on Tanisha's birthday, "Facebook, help me wish my wife Tanisha Weeks a happy birthday. I just want to thank you for all you've done for our family. You are my rock. I couldn't ask for a better partner in crime. You're an awesome teacher and mother and wife, and I'm glad that you're mine. Happy birthday to my boo thing. Love you, babe." However, despite Dee thinking that things were good, Tanisha had sadly opened up a door of no return. The man Tanisha was seeing was 35-year-old Timothy Gibbs, and he was an individual with a terrible history and appeared to be nowhere on her level, but somehow, some way, the two began messing around. Timothy had been in jail many years after allegedly trying to unalive someone, and it was after he was released that he had started this relationship with Tanisha. How did they meet? Well, Tanisha's mother and Timothy's father are married and have been together for well over 25 years. So the two are in fact stepbrother and stepsister. Even though there's no blood relationship, they would have had to know each other as young people and most likely raised like siblings. Despite that, Tanisha had a husband who adored her and was a great provider and father, So the question is, why did she lower her standards, especially with her stepbrother? Whatever caused the two to cross the line eventually would come to light around August 2019, and by 2020, her and Dee were separated but still married. Tanisha would continue on in her relationship with Timothy, and I'm sure it made family functions awkward and weird, but things for the two quickly turned ugly by July 2020. According to Tanisha, Timothy became physically, sexually, and emotionally harmful, and things would only escalate over the years to come. So from July 2020 until November 22nd, 2024, the pair remained in a relationship, but Timothy was becoming more and more unhinged. During those dates, there was said to be a lot of DV physically and mentally, and he was also graping her. On top of that, just 3 days after finally trying to call it quits after many years of bad things, he went to her home, pulled out a gun on her, and demanded her to have a seat on the couch. He told her she was lying about her feelings for him and said he would unalive himself and shoot her if she lied again. Tanisha said then he choked her, and as she was pulling herself away, that her chain on her neck broke. Timothy then said he would shoot her and watch her bleed out. During this tirade he was going through, he put the gun to her head, and when she did not respond to a question in the way he wanted, he fired the gun, hitting the couch just left of where she was sitting. He then held a gun up to her and forced her to drive in her car to a convenience store. Timothy told Tanisha if she said anything to anyone, he would unalive everyone at the store. This again all took place just a few days after breaking things off with him on November 22nd, 2024. When she was finally able to get away from him later that day, she would go and file a police report that evening, reporting DV. She then proceeded to tell authorities all she had experienced over the past 4+ years with Timothy and stated that it happened on a monthly basis. However, it was not clear how many reports, if any, she made in the past to get help with Timothy. Tanisha was granted an emergency order of protection against Timothy on November 27th, and on the next day, sheriff officers would serve him with that emergency order of protection. However, authorities also discovered that he failed to register as a harmful offender for a 2010 attempted unaliving conviction, and they arrested him. He appeared before a judge that same day on the failure to register charges and was ordered released on probation pending trial, so they did not hold him. Then on December 2nd, the case was dropped altogether. So as Timothy was out on the streets, I'm sure Tanisha was terrified, and this was a conversation with one of her loved ones. So she was hiding out, and I'm sure she was not with her mother, as that is his father's house too, and he could have found her there easily. But it seems like she was making all the right moves, going to an unknown location. On December 18, Tanisha's emergency order of protection expired, and the judge granted her preliminary order of protection, which would have been effective for 2 years. The order of protection prohibited Timothy from being within 100 feet of Tanisha or having any form of contact. Timothy was ordered to stay away from her home and her school where she taught at. At some point, it appears that Tanisha may have gone back home after getting the full protection order, but Timothy sadly had other plans. 2 weeks into the new year, Tanisha's mother said that Timothy started saying that he will harm everyone. It was said that Timothy was upset that Tanisha would not get a divorce and because she didn't want him anymore. So he decided to take fatal measures on January 16, 2025. Despite having legal protection, Timothy would lay in waiting for Tanisha alongside her 7-year-old daughter to come out of their home and ambush them. As Tanisha went to shield her daughter, Timothy was said to have shot her in the head more than once and then put the gun to his head and shot himself. While both of them lay next to each other, her 7-year-old witnessed the whole thing to her horror. Authorities got to the home around 7:35 a.m. and found both unresponsive, lying next to each other on the bottom step of the front porch. Both were taken to the hospital and pronounced unalive at Mount Sinai Hospital.
The woman shot and killed yesterday morning has been identified as 41-year-old Tanisha Weeks. Court records reveal she was recently granted an order of protection against the man accused of her. Court documents paint the picture of a pattern of abuse Tanisha Weeks alleges she faced at the hands of 35-year-old Timothy Gibbs. He's the man found shot to next to her Thursday morning at a home on West Crenshaw Street. Police sources say Weeks' child told investigators Gibbs shot her mom before turning the gun on himself. Weeks was granted an order of protection against Gibbs, who she identified in a petition as her ex-boyfriend. Court records detail Weeks as a parent, a charter school teacher, and someone who was looking for help getting away from someone she feared would take her life. A tragic reality unfolding in this North Lawndale neighborhood.
Despite this very horrible tragedy that took place, Tanisha was so very loved in her community, guiding so many young people. Plus, she was a phenomenal mother to her 3. I'm sure that Timothy preyed on her kindness, and sadly, she fell into his web of deceit and slick talk. The thought of someone that should be forbidden probably gave her a desire to explore what would happen, not realizing that she was stepping into a fatal affair. Maybe the two had something before in the past that no one ever knew about and just linked up again after he got out of jail. However, no matter how the two came together, a beautiful woman and a mother lost her life, and it should have not happened. A young girl had to witness something so terrifying, and that should have never happened. So many past offenders get out and do even worse, but then there are those who broke the smallest of laws and stay in jail longer. The system is sadly broken, and for him to get picked up in December and the case get dropped in regards to registering as a harmful person is just so unfortunate. Regardless of them dating, there seem to be so many red flags that he would snap and do the unthinkable. It has been said that Timothy was nothing like the good man his father is, as a man and a husband to Tanisha's mother. This whole crime is just devastating on so many levels. My thoughts and prayers go out to the entire family as they navigate and process this tragedy. Tanisha's life mattered and she should still be here. Do you think the system failed her? Let me know. Also, please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers for this family in their difficult time, and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.